Hello, my name is Demian. Welcome to my channel, Growing Together. This is part 3 of my video series on the case of the West Memphis 3. This case has been a huge part of my life, and these are my interviews with Victoria and Aaron Hutcheson. It is our intention to disclose the entire truth of the child murders in West Memphis, Arkansas in 1993, known as the case of the West Memphis 3. This is both a confession and a testimony of how God acts in the darkest places. So make sure you check that out. I'll get them out as soon as possible as soon as I finish editing them. In this section of the interview, Victoria discloses things that have never been disclosed before. She's a dear friend of mine. Here's Victoria talking about what she heard the children say and what she saw with her own 2 eyes on the day that the children were murdered.
Aaron was going still to Weaver Elementary in West Memphis, even though we had moved to Marion. I had asked Weaver could he finish out the school year there because I didn't want to transfer him to Marion yet. I had arrived there to pick him up from school, so I guess it was about 3:15 or 3:30 in the afternoon. I drove an S10 truck, a little small truck, and I arrived there on the side, and Michael Moore got on one side of my truck and Christopher Byers got on the other side of my truck, and they called me Miss Vicky. They were, all excited and hyper and jumping on the truck there, and Miss Vicky, we have a Cub Scout thing tonight, and Aaron has to go to it. And being all hyper, and Aaron has to go to the Cub Scout thing tonight because if he doesn't, he's going to get kicked out of Cub Scouts. That was Michael Moore's thing because his dad was the Cub Scout leader. I was like, well, if there was a Cub Scout thing tonight, I would know, Michael. And well, there is one, and Aaron has to go or he's going to get kicked out. And Chris was like, yeah. And I said, well, then he's going to get kicked out. Okay? No, he really will. He's going to get kicked out. For real. And I said, no, he'll have to get kicked out then because he's not going to go. And you know what? I would know because I'm a Cub Scout mom. Well, he'll get kicked out then. I said, well, he's not going. And they were like, just real adamant about him going. And I actually had to tell him to get off my truck. And I said, come on, Aaron, we got to go because I got to go to work. He said he didn't say anything. He just got in the truck. And he got in the truck, and we pulled out a Weaver. And oh my God, he was so freaking mad at me. He threw the biggest fit. I mean, he kicked. Now, granted, Aaron was a mean little kid, but he kicked my dash in with his feet and was throwing the biggest fit because I did not let him stay with Mike and Chris to go to this Cub Scout thing. And I was like, hey, look, boy, I will pull this truck over and bust your butt.
So you said you were a Cub Scout mom. You also said that you knew that because you were a Cub Scout mom that the Cub Scouts didn't meet that night?
Yeah, they always
When would they meet?
I don't exactly remember what day.
But you knew that they weren't meeting that night.
They weren't meeting that night, right?
Got it. Continue. Yeah, go ahead.
And I was like, because I would have pulled the truck over and just busted his butt,
For Aaron.
For Aaron, right? Because he was acting up.
Uh-huh.
And he didn't care. He was still throwing a fit. But he didn't have much to say. He was just acting up like a little brat. So I said, you know what? I don't care if it is your birthday, I will bust your butt. I said, you're having your birthday party Friday, and they're going to come and have to your party and maybe spend the night. I hadn't cleared it with Dana or Melissa that they could spend the night, but that was the plan, maybe that they could spend the night with them or have a sleepover or something. Maybe we could do Chuck E. Cheese, something, something special.
So May 4th was Aaron's birthday?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter. He was still throwing a fit. So he calmed down by the time we got to the trailer park. And his babysitter opened the door, so I knew she was there. And I was just going to drop him off and go to work. And he was getting ready to get out, and he said, Mom, I don't have any homework, so I just want to go to the Twins and play Nintendo. Is that okay? And I said, well, are you sure you don't have any homework? no, I don't have any homework. And I said, well, if you don't have any homework, if you go to the Twins and you play Nintendo, you make sure that you're home by the time the pole light comes on, or right at dark. And he was like, I will be. He just went out of the truck. And so I think I hollered out the window at her that he was going to go to the Twins and play Nintendo. I can't really remember, Damien.
Mm-hmm.
That was the deal, which is kind of what he did anyway all the time. But usually if he had homework, he'd go in and do his homework. But he was always home by the time the pole light came on. That was the deal with almost all the mothers. That was the thing. They came home before the pole light in the street.
Right. Comes on right before the sun sets.
Right. So his babysitter actually called me, and he was not home yet. And the pole light had come on. And
so you'd gone to work.
I'd gone to work. I'd been at work, and the pole light had already came on.
Where did you work?
At a convenience store down the street.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I was thinking of the name. I can't remember the name of it.
But it's a convenience store down.
It was a little convenience store down the street there in Marion. So
you got a phone call from the babysitter.
From the babysitter, she said that he was not home yet, and that really wasn't a big deal. It was a tight little trailer park there.
Right.
And
what time was it when she called you?
Was
it before dark?
It was right at dark.
Right at dark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I don't know if I told you this or not, but we lived like close to Jesse, Miss Kelly,
mm-hmm.
and he was a good friend of ours, a good friend of mine. Aaron and Jesse were very close. It was like a brother to Aaron. When I first moved to the trailer park, I was living in Uncle Johnny's little travel trailer. He would bring food over to me and Aaron. He would actually play with Aaron. He was good to me and Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he saw Aaron there, he would bring him home even, or Jess was a good kid. He was like a brother to Aaron. He was like a brother to me.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay,
but so right now the babysitter calls you and tells you Aaron's not home yet.
Aaron's not home yet. I said, don't worry, call down to the Twins, see if he's still down there playing Nintendo, tell him to get his butt home. She hangs up. And I guess she calls down to the Twins. I don't know what happened. Anyway, she calls me back. And I guess Aaron is not home yet, is what she was getting ready to tell me. But Aaron walked in the door.
Uh-huh.
So,
Now, when she called you back, how much time had passed?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, go on.
That's not something you remember. She said, never mind. He just walked in.
Uh-huh.
See, so it was over,
Got it.
Done. And
do you remember what time you got off of work?
I got off at 7 in the morning.
Oh, so you worked all night?
Yes, I worked all night.
Uh-huh. Do you remember if it was an hour or 2 hours had passed? Or
I really don't.
You just don't remember?
I just don't remember. That's not something that was important at that time.
Right.
I just don't remember. I don't recall it. I couldn't recall it for the police in West Memphis
mm-hmm.
or Marion. I just don't. That I was busy at work. I don't know. Have no idea. I don't know. I would like to. I'd like to recall the time, but I just don't. I guess I don't know what he even did. I haven't spoken. She and I aren't great friends or anything now, and she hates my guts. I don't know. I don't even know the whole story with her. So anyway, I got off at 7 that morning. I always had to go home and get Aaron up, get him dressed, and take him to West Memphis to Weaver to school because I wanted him to finish out that school year. So I'd gotten off work. I'm tired. I had to go and she laid on the couch and slept.
As you can see, these murders were not an act of passion. It wasn't something that was not planned. The very fact that the kids knew about a secret Cub Scout meeting tells you that this murder was premeditated and planned. It's important to note that Damien Echols, Jesse Miskelly, and Jason Baldwin had nothing to do with this crime. In the next sections, Victoria is going to talk to you about what happened after the murders. This is the real story of the West Memphis 3. It's not sugar-coated. It's not trying to bring fantastical, satanic cults into the mix, although John Mark Byers and Melissa Byers were Satanists. I'm sorry, Ryan, if you heard that, but it doesn't mean that Melissa Byers had anything to do with the murder of your little brother. Ryan, you know about this stuff. You need to talk. You need to trust in the Holy Spirit of God, and you need to speak the truth about what happened. I promise you God will be with you, and I hope that you come forward. I hope that you contact me. In video 2, I give you my contact information. Ryan, call us. I talk about how God acts in this case, and one of the things that happened in this case, when I first met Victoria and I laid down these interviews, something incredible happened. We were driving down the freeway. We were heading towards West Memphis to see if the blue shed was still at the primary crime scene. On our way there, I remember I looked up and I saw a sign. There was a name on the sign, and it said the name and 7 miles. Victoria was talking to Ryan Clark on her cell phone, and they were talking about old times. They were laughing. They were just really enjoying the conversation, and me just being a fly there on the wall. I was just really enjoying hearing them just be themselves and be at peace and just be good with each other. After she gets off the phone with Ryan, I felt a wave of exhaustion hit me. It was really weird because I was not tired before that. And all of a sudden, I could hardly keep my eyes open. So I told Vicky, I said, Vicky, we're going to stop at this town in 7 miles. We just passed it. We're going to stop there. And Victoria starts to tease me. She tells me, there's no such town. There's no such place. And I start to laugh at her. And then I start to tease her back, and I'm telling her, I saw the sign. It's a freeway sign. You don't know your own state. That city is there. And Vicky's telling me, no, that city's not there. You're seeing things. So now we're just bantering back and forth and laughing about the fact that we're about to hit this town in about 3 miles. But even still, I was exhausted. I was still tired, but yet enjoying this banter with Vicky. And when we get there, after 7 miles, it was not the name that I saw in the sign. So I was confused. And so now Vicky's just laughing. And now she's got me on the wall because obviously this town doesn't exist. So regardless of that, I was confused, and I was like, well, I guess I don't know what the heck I saw, but it is what it is. I'm still exhausted. Let's get a motel room. So we got a motel room there in that city. And we're sitting there, and she calls Ryan back, and they start talking again. And Vicky tells him that I'm seeing things on the freeway. He saw the sign, blah, 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 and 7 miles. And she's like, and this was the name he saw on the sign. And all of a sudden, Ryan gets really serious, completely quiet, really serious, and just hangs up the phone. Vicky looks at me. She's like, he just hung up on me. It was weird. Vicky is kind of off-put by that. She's like, what the heck? So she calls him back, says, Ryan, what happened? We got disconnected. He doesn't answer the phone. So she calls him back. Like 7 times she calls him back and says, Ryan, what's the matter? What's going on? It's me. Call me back. Tell me that you're okay. So Ryan, after about 7 phone calls, Ryan calls back. And he tells Vicky, he says, crying, in tears, he says, Vicky, I knew someone was coming for me, but I didn't know it was going to be you. Vicky's like, what are you talking about? And Ryan is like, well, just get it over with. Come over here and get it over with. Ryan thought that we were there to kill him because we, by chance, I shouldn't say by chance, we, by the Holy Spirit and led by God, ended up 1/4 mile from his house. And the name that I saw in that sign was the name that Ryan used to hide. So Ryan thought that we were there to kill him. His little brother had been murdered. His mother had been murdered. And Ryan thought that we were crazy. Ryan thought that Vicky was crazy to do these interviews with me, to speak the truth. And that's one of the reasons why we never released them back then because we were afraid. We did not want anyone to get hurt, including Ryan, because of what Vicky says. But now that all this time has passed, we think that God is telling us this is the right time. This is the right time to release it. Vicky has approved it. Aaron told me it was okay back in the day. He said, you know what, if you want to release him, release him. So what we need to complete this story, this testimony, this confession is Ryan. You got to come forward, man. You got to speak. God worked in us. I know this is weird. I know all these videos are weird. I know what I'm talking about is strange, but God doesn't work the way the world works. We're not making a documentary here. We're not trying to make $1 million. We're not trying to get an Oscar. We're not trying to get an accolade. We are witnesses to the truth of how God acts within us, through us. That's it. That's our purpose. There's nothing else that we're doing here besides God's work. So Ryan, check out the end of video 2 and send me a message. Let's do this. There's nothing to be afraid of. You have lived, most of us live, a life of being dead long before we die. Why? Because we're afraid of the truth. We're afraid to walk in the truth. We are afraid to walk in the Holy Spirit, but I promise you, not just for Ryan, but anyone listening to this, if you trust in the Holy Spirit, the life that is ahead of you is wonderful and incredible and awesome. Trust in the Holy Spirit. He is the way, the life, and the truth. You will see things straight out of the New Testament. You will be a witness to the truth. No one will be able to shake your faith. It's not going to be something logical in your mind. You're going to understand because the miracles you will live will materialize in front of you. Live in the Holy Spirit. Live in the truth. Stop being afraid. If you're a victim, stop being afraid. Yes, the world will persecute you. The world will insult you, just like Christ said would happen. Things haven't changed today. They're the same as they were when Christ was crucified. They still try to put real Christians on the cross because a real Christian is not afraid. A real Christian speaks with God in his heart. Do not think that Christ has come to bring peace on earth. He has come to bring a sword of division, even in our own families, because in our own families we have our abusers. In our own schools, we have our abusers and our manipulators. In our own police stations, in our own churches. Wake up. The Holy Spirit is real. God is real. And if you can find two people, just two people who can get together in the Holy Spirit, the power and the amazing things that you will see, the incredible kingdom will line up before you. I am again a witness to the truth. I encourage you to give God a chance within you. The kingdom of heaven is at hand and within you.